Michael Lynch, we made a decision that we didn't want to see that chicken parmesan come up to revisit everybody, so I'm taking over instead. We're going to move to a fairly serious story now. A new and chilling video released by an ISIS supporter shows a little girl in a full burka waving a butcher knife while singing the Islamic song before beheading a doll. Take a look.
وسوف ترى بعطريارك تكون المعارك لأجل دمارك وسام ضرى مشينا بسور لجز ونحر بسكين ثغر سمت مكرى.
Meanwhile, last week, a 12-year veteran of the Washington, D.C. Transit Police was arrested for trying to assist ISIS by purchasing technology equipment to help them evade authorities while communicating with each other. Nicholas Young traveled to Libya in 2011, where he claimed to have joined the rebels to overthrow Gaddafi. Young met with the FBI informant, who he believed was a member of ISIS. Officials say that over 100 Americans have been charged with trying to join ISIS over the past 3 years. The states with the most ISIS suspects arrested include New York, Minnesota, California, Virginia, and Texas. Joining me now to discuss the ISIS threat to America is retired Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann. Scott, welcome to the program. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
That's a very disturbing video, but it indicates to us something I think that everybody needs to take note of. This is so serious that they are indoctrinating their youth. That young girl doesn't know right from wrong. That young girl is being taught right from wrong, and her version of right from wrong ought to strike sickness and fear into the heart, not just of Americans, but everybody in this country and in this world who is yet to realize the threat that they pose. What do we do about this, Scott? If that doesn't wake people up, what will?
Well, I think you and I both know what'll wake them up, and I hope to God that doesn't happen, because, another cataclysmic attack. What a shame for that to happen. But I will tell you, Bill, what really concerns me is, when you see children being indoctrinated like this, and look, people indoctrinate children all over the world to join gangs, and you look at the youth gangs down in Central America, but in this case, this is reminiscent of the of the Nazi youth of Goebbels and his dark art of storytelling. This is powerful stuff. I really don't think we're paying enough attention to how narrative is being used to radicalize kids before they even have a chance to make their own decisions. It is really powerful, dark stuff.
It is really powerful and dark stuff, which leads me actually to the next question that flows out of that. There's nothing that we can really do about that little girl, that she's in the environment that she's in right now. There are, however, people in the United States, at least 100, say the FBI, who live here, who work here, who live among us, walk among us, and yet they are being recruited. What is it about ISIS that attracts them? Is it a sense that the world is spinning out of control and that maybe the ISIS ideology offers an opportunity to bring order, even though it is a certain swift justice attached to it?
Well, as Green Berets, Bill, we spend a lot of time working kind of in the places in between, and we look a lot at this stuff. And, again, I think we tend to dismiss the power of narrative and story in favor of, drone strikes and nighttime SEAL raids, because that just makes us feel better. But the fact of the matter is, this kind of stuff really resonates. When you talk about the narrative of ISIS, what they're essentially offering to people who are, marginalized, already ticked off at various governments and us, is a chance to have their suffering mean something bigger than themselves. And that resonates, whether that's remembering the Alamo, never forget 9/11, or come protect the caliphate. It resonates, especially when you go against to marginalized populations who already have an axe to grind, and they're just looking for someone to grind it on.
Yeah, there was a very popular song, and I don't mean to go all 60s on everybody here, but there was a very popular song which line read, "Plants that cannot bloom by day will flower in the night." And that's what I'm reminded of when I see ISIS. People who are discontent, people who are disconnected, people who are not integrated into the system, whether it's because they don't have a job or for whatever other reason. Right. These kinds of ideologies, I think, and tell me if you agree, become attractive because they offer a certain controlled reality to them.
Yeah, they do. And a lot of people think that, the big recruits are taken from communities that are suffering, so all we do is offer them a job. That's not how it works. who they go after are marginalized communities who are suffering and there's no meaning. When you can add meaning to suffering, then that's the age-old hero's journey, right? Then the struggle becomes worth it. And that's what they go to. That's why in my book, Game Changers, when we worked in Afghanistan and Iraq, out in the places in between, what we found, the only thing that really works against ISIS and Al-Qaeda that they're scared of is when you work at a community level to help tribes and clans stand up on their own and push back from the inside out. That works. Takes longer, but that's where these guys operate. And if we don't start getting back into those spaces, Bill, pushing from the bottom up in Sunni Iraq, tribal Afghanistan, and even in our own marginalized Islamic communities, these guys are going to start spinning these dark stories more and more in those places, and we're going to see more police and others joining this thing because it's attractive.
Unfortunately, as we have 10 seconds left, Scott, really quickly, do you think it's going to take a horrific, horrible attack on the soil again, although we've already had them, to wake people up?
Al-Qaeda is going to push for a cataclysmic attack. ISIS is going to push for more of a decentralized execution with local applications making you think